What is up, guys? Rickackis here, and stop. Stop writing the comment about how Destiny is dead and there's better games. Stop writing the comment about how I complain too much because Destiny is so amazing. And whoever is writing that stupid comment saying that they're first, you can definitely stop that as well. This is not a video about Destiny. This is a video about a corporation and consumers, you and me. This is something that every Destiny fan, no matter if they're still a hardcore Destiny fan or they've left the franchise a long time ago, should be able to rally behind, because this is a video about accountability and honesty. Now, what exactly am I talking about? Well, very recently, Bungie has released its new December patch, which has impacted, or supposed to have impacted, almost every different weapon type. Pulse rifles were generally thought to be too powerful, they were supposed to be nerfed. Auto rifles have been the underdog for far too long, they were supposed to get a buff, and hand cannons and scout rifles were to also receive changes. It was really supposed to just mix up the meta and let people experience new weapons. Unfortunately, things just got weird. When the patch was actually implemented, people were able to see right away that there was actually no damage increase whatsoever for auto rifles. Now, Bungie had previously said that auto rifles were supposed to be buffed, and each different archetype of auto rifles was supposed to be buffed differently. The low rate of fire auto rifles like the Answering Cord and the Suros ARI-45 were supposed to receive a 3% buff. The middle of the road auto rifles like the Xylo Supercell were supposed to receive a 7% buff, and the highest rate of fire auto rifles like the Necrochasm were supposed to receive a 4% buff. Now again, people were able to see right away that these increases were not in effect and there was no noticeable increase to damage. Bungie then came out and said that there had been a typo and that the real increases are 0.3% for the high damaging auto rifles, 0.7% for the middle of the road auto rifles, and 0.04% for the fastest firing auto rifles. Now, what happened next is one of the best moments of the Destiny community. We all looked at Bungie and collectively said, we don't fucking buy it. These numbers, these increases make absolutely no sense, and Bungie just, wrote it off as a typo, that instead of saying 7, oh, oops, it was supposed to be 0.7. But here's the thing, they first announced these numbers, and for all of the guns, not just auto rifles, I'm just sticking to auto rifles to make things easier for you guys to understand, but again, these numbers all were announced on November 20th, so 18 plus days ago, like 20 days ago, Bungie came out and said, hey, these are what we're doing to the weapons. This is how much we're nerfing and buffing them. And obviously, this created great debate. People were saying, wow, how you're going to make auto rifles so overpowered, 7% is too much. People were saying, is 7% enough? Is 4% enough? Bungie was hearing a lot of people quote these numbers. Like, everyone was talking about these numbers. It just doesn't make sense to me that they could go like 18 days with hearing these numbers, with hearing people quote 7%, 4%, 3%, and not clue in that they made a typo if that's actually the case. And it takes them till the day that the update is actually released to then realize, oh, oops, we made a typo. Where do you think these people were getting these numbers from? Again, people were talking about this for days and days, weeks before this DLC was actually implemented. There's no way, unless whoever wrote that weekly update literally wrote it and then went on holiday and didn't tell anyone else within the Bungie studio about these increases. It just doesn't make sense. Furthermore, the actual percentages that they were increased, or that they claim to be increased by, 0.7, 0.3, and 0.04, mathematically have no effect on the game. And I'm going to prove it to you guys right now. And I've never seen anyone else do this before. So if you think this is as big of an issue as I do, please remember to slap that like button, because this is going to be some absolute destruction. So get ready. Now let's start out here with the most substantial, if you can even call it that, increase to the auto rifles, and that is the 0.7% increase to the middle of the road auto rifles. So these auto rifles are capable of doing an absolute maximum damage of 20. 20 damage for a headshot at the closest possible ranges. And what happens if you take 20 and increases by 0.7%? Well, you get 20.14. That's it. That's the most damage possible. That's the highest possible increase. Goes from 20 to 20.14. That has absolutely mathematically zero impact on time to kill, on overall damage, on damage per second, on any of that stuff. It is just inconsequential. And remember, the lower the number is, you need a bigger increase to actually increase it by one number. For example, if you have the number 5, you need a 20% increase from 5 to go to 6. For 100, you only need a 1% increase from 100 to go to 101. So again, this is the maximum damage. This is the most the gun can ever do, and it's mathematically inconsequential. So at further ranges, when it's doing less than that, if you don't get a headshot, it's going to be even less of an increase. And you know what? Just to prove a point, here's what happens with the lowest damage auto rifles. Those do 16 maximum damage. So they're only capable of doing 16 closest range to the head. What does a 0.04% increase look like? Well, here we go. Increasing the damage by 0.04%, which, like, to put in perspective, how small is that? You know, you have a 1% increase, and then a tenth of that is 0.1, and then Bungie has less than half of that with 0.04. In any event, it increases 16 damage to 16.0064. There is no possible mathematical way that that could come into effect. Absolutely, it has zero effect on anything. What I have proven to you definitively is that the increases Bungie has claimed to implement have absolutely no effect on gameplay, on how the auto rifles perform whatsoever. Now, just for argument's sake, since I've got my calculator sitting here, what would happen if Bungie had kept their word, if they had actually increased the guns by the percentages they gave? Well, for the example of the middle of the road auto rifles, if they would have actually increased it by 7%, it would have gone from 20 maximum damage to 21.4. This actually kind of makes sense. It increases it by 1 damage, which doesn't sound like much, but it is going to have a little bit of an impact on range, because instead of dropping from 20 to 19 and then your time to kill results in you having to shoot one more time, it's going to drop from 21 to 20, and so you're going to just extend your range by a little bit. Again, this is not a huge increase. We're still up for debate whether the original numbers would have even made sense or made a difference, but at least it's an increase, period. At least it kind of makes sense. So what it looks like that happened is that something went wrong with the December patch, and what was supposed to be implemented was not implemented. These 7%, 3%, 4% buffs were just not implemented. And to save face, Bungie just lied to us, to the consumer, to the people that paid for all of their content, all the DLCs at full price. They lied to us. Instead of telling us the truth, which wouldn't have been that bad if they would have said, sorry, the patch wasn't implemented properly. These things are not supposed to be this low. We're gonna, work as hard as we can and just implement the proper updates. I don't know about you, but I would not be making a video about that. That's just, something that happens. Someone entered some code wrong. We move on from that point. But to lie to us is just irresponsible and unacceptable. And guess what, guys? This has fucking happened before. This isn't the first time. Remember Iron Banner? Remember the first year 2 Iron Banner where no one got any good loot? We actually asked Deej about it, and he said that, the loot drops are working as intended. After the whole Iron Banner debacle and people were furious at how bad the loot drops were, Bungie suddenly came out and said, oh, sorry, it was a glitch. A glitch was impacting the loot drops. Isn't that just a little bit too convenient for all of you? Like, for me, just that was a little too convenient. That it just happened to be a bug that impacted the Iron Banner drops, and it wasn't just Bungie doing what they always do and making RNG a little bit too crazy. Want another example? Well, Bungie was supposed to nerf the Vex Mythoclast way back when it was overpowered. They said it got a 34% nerf. It took them months later to say what we already knew after 10 seconds of testing it, that it actually got a 50% nerf. And they said that this was a mistake, that this was a glitch. It took them months to admit this. And again, it's something that 60 seconds of actual playtime would have clearly shown happened, that it wasn't a 34, it was a 50% nerf. Now again, guys, I want to reiterate, I'm not bitching about the patch. If the patch would have came out properly, could have had a video coming up saying, look, auto rifles just aren't good enough, or, you know, pulse rifles were impacted too much, whatever. And we can move forward from that point. I'm okay with Bungie making mistakes by, you know, they could have just said, look, we're not buffing auto rifles because we're nerfing pulse rifles and we're nerfing shotguns, and we think auto rifles are going to be more competitive right now. I may disagree with that, but I'm not going to get super upset by it. We're just going to move on. We're going to say, look, Bungie, we're going to test it out. We're going to say, look, this either works or it doesn't work, and we're going to move on and keep improving the game in the next patch. But to lie to us, to lie to the consumers, to the people that purchase their game, is absolutely, again, that is just unacceptable. And I'm not going to take that lying down. I don't appreciate to be lied to by Bungie. If they made a mistake, admit the mistake. Say we messed up, we're working on a fix, we're going to implement it as soon as possible. I would not care about that. But to intentionally mislead the Destiny community, again, is just despicable, and this isn't the first damn time they've done this. And look, it's easy to get mad at Bungie if you've kind of fallen out of love with the game, if you've left Destiny, but this is just more of a blow to the people who have stuck with Destiny, to the most loyal of Destiny fans. You're just spitting right in their face. They chose to not buy Black Ops, they chose to not buy Fallout, they're sticking with Destiny because they like it so much, and they're the ones who are the most impacted by this, who are being lied to the face. This is absolutely just not gonna fly anymore, Bungie. And you know, like, I've said this is unacceptable just so many times. I don't feel like saying it again. I don't know what else to say. Like, I don't know. I can't justify this in my mind. I don't know why they would do this, because again, if they admitted their mistake, we would have accepted it. It's just strange, and I don't have any other real word for why this is happening other than it's just weird, it's strange, and it's behavior I haven't really seen in any other game companies. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. All I know is that it needs to stop. And if you agree with that, it's your responsibility to make Bungie abundantly clear of our position. Please tweet at them, tweet this video at them, do whatever it takes to just let them know that this is not gonna fly. Now that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Well, it's not much to enjoy about this video. It's a pretty shitty topic. But in any event, please remember to rate and share this video. It really does help me out. And if you want to see more Destiny content that hopefully isn't as negative as this, please remember to slap that subscribe button. Now, if you want to get in touch with me, the best way is on Twitter. That's linked in the description of this video, as is my Twitch channel, which you can follow as well. Again, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day. We need to make it to round 12.
Hold on. I have to go unplug my SCUF controller, get my control freaks out, get in my DXR gaming chair, and anything else that makes me a better player. I gotta go do that real quick. Oh yes, I need to go get my tub of G Fuel. I have the pineapple flavor. It's so good. Oh my god.